Welcome, my beautiful souls. Today we're going to do a special reading. This is what I call, or what I'm going to call, a soul reading. Um, I often feel when I feel called to do these type of readings, it usually talks about like signs that have been missed. Um, you know, whether it's relating to love, money, life. I definitely feel it's also encouragement, comfort, is coming from our spiritual guides. So, and that, let's just say the higher realm. So the story will just unfold, and all we're going to do is follow along. I have my intuition wide open. And I recommend you do the same. Just trust your intuition. This is a type of reading where like you should get goosebumps. Like you just know it's for you. Okay, so that's all I'm going to talk about, and let's go ahead and get in the reading. We're going to use we're going to use quite a few different decks, but our main decks, we'll start with Mother Mary. We'll use the Gilded Tarot to clarify and go deeper. Um, the Psychic Tarot is what really called out. So this will be your main spread. And then we will use the major arcanas. And they're like for bullet points and, you know, that type of thing. But we're going to open the reading with Mother Mary. Anyone who's new, first of all, welcome. I do want to let you know that all my decks are always pre-shuffled, but I do like to give them a shuffle or two with you here. So, okay, well, that didn't take long. Hello, love. Hello, love. Love is the answer to all of my questions. Okay, so I know love is going to be in this reading. Love and grace. I am filled with the same beauty, poise, and divine perfection as all of God's other creatures. Maybe you just needed to remind yourself that. So, love and grace. Well, boy, they seem to go together very well. Love and grace sounds like a song. Okay, well, let's bring in the major arcanas. And, as we go along, more and more and more will be revealed. And I often feel like the ending is like the silver lining. Not the ending, but all right. So I'm just shooting for like 3 to 4. We have the wheel. Hello, Destiny. But look at this with Hangman. Someone blocking their wheel? Is someone blocking this a change from the wheel from turning? Which is completely your right. Hangman seeking wisdom. He's looking towards the future. We have justice. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, so we have justice. Someone may be either hesitant or considering cutting certain ties. Justice speaks about balance. And the hangman, pause in energy, a pause in the action. Um, but he's swaying towards justice, so like maybe using that sword or hoping someone else will use that sword and like cut him free. But the truth is, he's loosely bound. He bound himself. He can cut himself free. You know, it can mean a divorce. Like someone may be thinking that. But by the way, like it would be you. I would feel my readings aren't about like, hey, surprise, like someone wants to divorce you. No. Um, you know, there must be some type of imbalance. All right. Well, we have the death card, closing of a door, transformation. Interesting. Next to justice, cutting of ties. But it's a necessity to find whatever balance I'm looking for. As much as it is a necessity to close the door, maybe if I want this will to move, maybe I could live in the hangman's energy and, it's not like it's all hell. Um, but yet something's telling me I just want more. Or again, something doesn't feel balanced. Death card, that sickle, justice with that sword. But yet the wheel over here, and it's interesting because the person about to spin the wheel has a blindfold on. So it's literally like blind faith. Kind of reminds me of the fool taking a leap of faith. But something, there must be a reason. Like there's some type of energy, like, I don't know, maybe I've had enough of. But it may only end when you decide to close the door. And remember, every time a door closes, a new door opens. Some reason it just reminds me of um, every time a bell rings, an angel gets their wings. I don't know why it reminded me of that. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets their wings. Okay, let's bring in the psychic tarot. Let's go deeper. How deep do we dare to go? I just got goosebumps. I also feel very cold in my room today. Like I have this extra, I don't even know what you call it, amnesia? Something. I don't know. Okay. Um, I don't know if I said it, but death card's also a card of Scorpio. And I think like you need to think about your major arcana. So the death card, Scorpio, what does that mean? You have to learn to like allow these transformations, and the ability to have these transformations, right? And to have rebirths in your life, justice, Libra, balance. Like when life feels unbalanced, I feel unbalanced. And I have to learn to use that sword. I have a right to use that sword, right? This is my life. So I'm just saying. All right. So we have the world came in the upright. So we're going to take it first. So a new chapter, which makes sense following the death card. We have the Empress. Beautiful. Boy, I feel like all of a sudden, I feel like so much growth. I feel like some of you may have been holding on to like old weight, so to speak, that seem to like shut down that creative part of yourself. And I feel like that part of you is now coming alive. Coming alive. I feel balanced. Think of the Empress, the creative one, loving and nurturing, right? She doesn't let anybody take that from her. But she's very powerful. She's strong, right? She's gone through it. She's closed doors. New doors open. Who's there? The Empress. And it's interesting, 21, which equals to a 3, next to a 3, 33, and nobody better to spin that wheel than the Empress. So, okay, let's keep going. Kind of just getting lost in that energy. I see this repeat pattern of a circle, almost like infinity, no beginning, no end. We have temptation, though it did show in reverse. That is card of Capricorn. But it can also mean temptations. You know, could be energy that I've been drawn to for like a while that really wasn't serving me. Whether it be like, a type of person or a substance, something that just kind of, I don't know, I feel like something gave you, excuse the language, but it feels like the balls to make some real change. And I feel that energy, it's interesting because I feel like the light is like now appearing. Um, I feel like old uh temptations, I feel like you're using that sword, you're closing a door, and I feel like you're doing it with a sense of strength. The hangman must clearly seek the wisdom that he's seeking to then allow all this energy. And what does that do? That gets the wheel spinning. That opens up the next chapter. And then coming in already as the Empress and temptation being in reverse. Temptation, it's really the devil, can be also illusionary energy. Sometimes we feel stuck, like the hangman, right? He's loosely bound. He could untie himself like in a second, but he's comfortable there right now, right? He's the one who's got to almost, again, he is seeking wisdom, but he also has to be the one to, I feel like if I'm waiting for someone else to untie that, I don't know. We have Triumph, card of Cancer. Triumph. Look at this person. Here I come to save the day. It's like, I feel like somebody hearing news. And with this news, there's movement. Now, it's probably not for everyone, but for some reason, I'm feeling that like it's reminding me of like the old time, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Not postmaster, but, you know how they used to deliver mail, with horses. It's reminding me of that. But like, I got to get this to the Empress quickly. And then we have moving on up, moving on. From what? Toxicity. From who? Whoever and whatever. This is like, it's kind of like staking your claim, like no more, like creating boundaries, not walls. You know what you know. And I love that this person is like looking out the window. It's light, it's bright, it's dark behind him. Down a little bit more. Hmm. We have the Two of Swords called mental conflict in this deck. Mental conflict usually means that someone's like wearing a mask. Um, and it usually means there may be something that seems like too hard to face. Kind of again like the hangman. But I feel like when the person in the Two of Swords takes that mask off, it's never as bad as they imagine it to be. And sometimes you just got to deal with what you got to deal with and come out the other side. You'll never reach the other side if you don't go through it. All right, keep going. We have solitude under the Empress, who is more than happy to be in the energy of solitude. Like, I feel like the Empress is, that's when she's most creative, when all the distractions are gone. Again, makes me wonder if someone up here was like really a distraction to all that you could be. We have positive movement forward. Person's heading towards the sun. We have spiritual strength. And then we have the Four of Wands. Four of Wands mirroring the Two of Swords. Not the Four of Wands. Firm foundation. And I feel like that's a perfect example of, let's say this is talking about like a past relationship or even a past marriage or a current one. Something that just is beyond, let's say, I guess, repair. I don't know if anything's beyond repair. Um, though I do feel like if you get stuck with a narcissist, sometimes that's beyond. And you have every right to free yourself. Um, but my point is that I feel like anything that's done, with a weak foundation, anything that begins with a weak like if we don't think about the foundation first and foremost, then if a tower comes along, easily can knock us off that foundation. Where if we have a strong foundation, well, like good luck. Good luck. Comes from one of my favorite movies. Good luck. It's so funny because I watched a movie last night and it was a different line. It's already done. It's already done. And I remember I looked at Sam and I said, that's going to be my new tagline. It's already done. It's already done. Hmm. Bottom of the deck, obstacles, challenges. I feel like that's what you've been going through. That's what you've been going through. Five is about a change, though. But it's a change you also have to allow. So it's underneath it, deception and envy. Okay. So I feel like there doesn't feel like anything good here. And this is at like the base of the situation, let's say. Strong foundation, no. Trust and honor and all that, no. Love, doesn't feel like it. Again, this hangman, like, he has to go through this energy to reach the world's energy. And it's like, gotta go through these obstacles, right? And deal. Look at that. The lovers underneath. Wow. And accelerated motion. Interesting. Because I feel like the Seven of Swords and the Five of um Wands, I feel like they're related. You know, deception and the untrustworthy energy. Five, you know, obstacle after obstacle. There's obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. That could be a sign. That alone could be a sign. Like, why can't I go in a straight line? Because it's not meant to be. It's not what your soul asked for. So, we're going to throw these extra challenges and obstacles in front of you. It would only be for your good, though. Only if, this energy does exist. Again, definitely untrustworthy energy. And you have the lovers underneath that. I feel like it's a whole different situation. And accelerate motion. Person's wishing upon a star. And I feel like they have someone in mind. Yet, there's also this. There's also this. Or there was that. Some of you may already be in the energy of the Empress. Male or female, by the way. We got to learn that we carry both feminine and masculine energy. And sometimes we're in our feminine energy and sometimes we're in our masculine. And I feel like that's both for men and women. But I have to tell you, I feel like the Empress is feeling quite satisfied. And, it's almost like she may be alone. I don't know if she's going to stay alone, but I feel like right now, like she may be alone, but at the same time, that may be the best thing in the world. It may feel like the best thing in the world. Doesn't mean that she's not open to potential. It just means if I don't have love, then I stop everything. No, she's very creative, and I feel like we all can reach the Empress's energy. And that's when you pay attention to the signs, right? You use them to your benefit, and not all are meant to be like immediately. Because even the Empress, I'm looking down here, I'm seeing a nine, and I'm thinking fertility, like carrying a baby for 9 months, right? She just knows the right. I mean, her body will just tell her it's time. All right. You know, before I did this reading, I was going to do for a particular sign. Then I thought, well, wait a minute, I should probably do it for this sign. Then I thought, wow. And I kept getting all these different signs. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I just like calmed down, just like relaxed. And then I realized it's really for all signs, all people. And I shouldn't limit it. Mm. With the world, over the world. Interesting. Could two people both be starting new chapters? Could this hangman and this empress, they could be connected, but I feel like the empress would be like, if let's say this was part, let's say it's someone she cared about, I do feel like she would say, like, you take care of your shit and I'll take care of mine. I think it's a good sign that we're seeing the world here again. So I feel like if it's talking like two people, then it seems like both of them enter into this new chapter. And that means, the death card or the world is much like the death card. It means that there has been an ending. It's like you took the energy of the death card, and that's exactly what you did. But it's all about now. I feel like the world is also very spiritual energy. And it makes sense that the Empress would be right next to it. All right, we have the Six of Wands over the Empress. Victory. Beautiful. And then look at this. We have the Six of Pentacles over the reversal of the Devil. Six of Pentacles is that fine art of give and take. What's fair, what's not. Knowing that you deserve to receive as much as you give. The Empress knows that. And I'm not even talking like egotistically. I'm talking like love. It's got to be a two-way street, right? Um, it's funny. I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's not even the Six of Pentacles. It's the Eight of Pentacles. But yet, boy, did I feel the Six of Pentacles energy. Okay. Hmm. Making me wonder if somebody works with someone and let me just tell you what I'm feeling. I feel the Empress, no matter what her feelings may be towards this, let's just say who's ever in the hangman, because I don't feel like it's the Empress. It could be, but I don't feel, or, she could have been there. But again, she may have taken care of where I said up here, she tells this person take care of their shit while she's taking care of it. And they may be more hesitant, but again, I don't feel like it has anything to do other than going through it. But I feel like going through is exactly it's the only way. Like, there is no other way. Not if I want to be with the Empress. There is no other way. Because the Empress is over here being like all creative and successful, you know, um, spiritual. She doesn't care if she's alone. To me, it may mean that she's working from the home. You move into the Eight of Pentacles, that's the willingness to be the apprentice, but knowing that you will be the master teacher. It's almost like the Empress is like, I have learned the book of shadows. I have taken the test and I passed it with A's. Maybe I've taken it a few times. Huh. Eight of Pentacles is a reminder of wherever your focus is at, that's what's going to grow. I feel like someone has left or lost that, what's a sense? What's a word I want to use? That, mm, like they can't lure me into doing something that doesn't feel right anymore. It just can't happen. It won't happen. I feel that sure about it. Like, yes, maybe I gave into it, but I'm no longer giving into it. Again, it feels like a sense of, you know, I'm doing my thing. She's over here being creative and energy is flowing. The wheel is spinning. So interesting how I'm picking that up though. We have the Seven of Cups over the Emperor, over, it's interesting I said the Emperor, over the Chariot. We have Four of Pentacles over, moving on, Six of Swords. We have the Queen of Wands over the Two of Swords. Hmm. Well, here's the first thing I can tell you. I feel like because the Seven of Cups is here, it means there's also decision. And in Seven of Cups, it can mean chaotic energy. It's coming over the Chariot, so it tells me it has potential. Yet it's coming on with the seven, the question. So again, it feels like it's tying right back to it doesn't have, because the Chariot is the balance of the feminine and the masculine. And that's what the Four of Pentacles feels to me like, the balance. And that means they must both be on the same, let's say, vibrational level. Otherwise it's wicky wacky, walkie wiki, you know. All right. Queen of Wands can be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Justice again. Wow. Interesting. The Three of Cups over positive movement forward. The Devil over spiritual strength. Look at that. That's kind of beautiful. That's the light over the dark. Justice, balance. There's a reason to celebrate. And I feel like your spiritual team, like, I feel like they're your protector at the same time. Almost like they won't let dark touch you. Maybe you believe him in that much. This queen could certainly be tied back to up here. She could be like outside of the emperor's focus, so to speak. But it does feel like the empress may have gone through, something similar, but she didn't. Anyway, let's keep going. I feel like there's a couple of things I'm feeling. First thing I'm feeling is, if anyone was coming towards the Empress, because remember, this is someone who doesn't build walls. This is someone who really trusts her intuition. She trusts her energy. She trusts her energetic field. And if anything, let's just say a lower vibration would try to break that energetic field, well, it's like all her chakras go off. It's like her alarm system. So it can't happen. It can't happen. Like you can't get through. And I feel like this person knows that. They know that. Because I do feel like the day comes. And I feel like the Empress will give that little challenge. But I feel like they're able to say good things. Double Capricorn. Yeah, double Capricorn in the reading. Double Libra. Okay, much more than I was going to take, but I'm going to take them. All right, we have the Ace of Swords. Well, chances are that's communication. We have the Empress again. We have the Nine of Swords. Hmm. I just don't feel like that belongs to the Empress, but let's see what comes next to it. The Five of Wands. Three of Wands. So there's change. Look at this. The Ace of Cups. And then the Knight of Cups. I'm sorry, the Knight of Swords. So this Knight of Swords, this Ace of Swords, is mirroring the Empress. I'm going to slide these all over so you can see them. Again, if we remember that every knight is going to complete their mission come hell or high water, then this Knight of Cups is going to reach the Empress. And it's coming right through the Ace of Cups, love. And I feel like it puts a real smile on the Empress's face. It's almost like the Empress has trusted in divine timing all along. And I feel like we're getting the peak of also what the Empress herself went through. I feel like she's gone through something very difficult. Excuse me. Um, I feel like she dealt with someone very difficult. Maybe this person, like she dealt with, kept her in a state of worry. Um, again, that feeling of like someone being free, and then it's like, whoa, this whole side of you opens up. Like this whole creative side of you opens up that maybe was so weighed down by everything else. So again, I feel like this Empress has freed herself. So it feels to me like who's ever in the hangman ultimately makes that decision, uses that sword, closes a chapter, jumps on that wheel, ends up in your world. You may give them a test, but I feel like they're going to pass it. And I don't feel like it is like, like test after test after test after test. No, because remember, that's just not the Empress. Just want to make sure what you're telling me is truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. It's almost like it's you that got me through. Huh. Okay. I feel like I don't want to overread it. Because I feel like this was about like a story just unveiling itself. And I feel like the story has. So I feel like in the end, it feels like the Empress is receiving communication. Again, it feels like of very good news. Saying very good news. I feel like I'm demeaning it by saying that. All right, we have whirlwind. Don't get caught up in the drama. Choose peace. So that's exactly what I feel the Empress did. She chose peace. Don't get caught up in the drama. Choose peace. Okay? Reverse itself, so we'll keep it that way. Fiery balance. Embrace intense forces. Offset, offset turmoil and stabilize with calm resolve. Embrace intense forces, offset turmoil, and stabilize with calm resolve. Just like relax, choose peace. It's my stomach ground, by the way. Um, I felt like I needed to do this reading, and I realized like I didn't even eat, but doesn't matter. I'll eat after. All right, I am going to bring out the romance angels. Why not? Playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. That's nice. Playfulness. Release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. Wow. Feel like that's talking right to that hangman. And then we have stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. So interesting how I kept feeling who's ever in the hangman that he or she's making that decision of using that sword, of closing a chapter, and then here is release your ex. So there's confirmation, right? There's confirmation. And I don't know. I don't know if the hangman who's ever in it has met like the Empress and be very hard not to, I feel like there's just a lot of charm around her. Um, you know, and sometimes you just can't help who you fall in love with. But touche. I don't even know why I said that. All right, guys, I'm gonna let that be. Um, I hope you find yourself in this reading. You know, I feel like it's really powerful, really for both, or for all, let's say. I feel like decisions, like it's better to face them. Sometimes there's no way around but to go through it, but you do come out the other side. And literally, it's like death card, and boom, it's like this person bounces out into your world. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I could go all over the reading again. I'm going to let that be. I love you guys. I thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.